Picture two neighbors on the same street in Charlotte, North Carolina. Same block, same property taxes, similar mortgage payments. The first neighbor is named Brandon. He earns $94,000 a year. Walk through his front door and you will see a 72-inch television mounted above a fireplace, a leather sectional that cost him $3,800 on financing, a kitchen loaded with appliances, an air fryer, a pasta maker, a panini press, a juicer, most of them still in their original boxes. His closet has 61 shirts. He counted once and stopped feeling good about it immediately. His garage holds a boat he takes out 4 times a year and a riding mower for a yard that takes 20 minutes to cut. Brandon checks his bank account with a knot in his stomach every Sunday night. He is 3 missed paychecks away from a genuine crisis. He does not know where his money goes. It just goes. The second neighbor is Philip. He earns $53,000 a year. Walk through his front door and the first thing you notice is space. A modest couch, a reasonably sized television, a kitchen with exactly the tools that get used every week, a closet with clothes that actually get worn, a garage with a car, and nothing else. Philip checks his bank account with calm. He has 14 months of expenses saved. He invests 18% of every paycheck. He sleeps without financial anxiety on Sunday nights. Same street, same neighborhood. The man earning nearly twice as much is financially fragile. The man earning half as much is genuinely free. This is not a story about income. This is a story about a set of rules that most people never learn. Rules that determine whether money works for you or whether you spend your entire life working for it. Today, I am going to walk you through the minimalist money rules that separate people who always have money from people who never do. These are not rules about deprivation. They are rules about clarity. And clarity about money is the rarest and most valuable financial skill in America. The principle underneath all of these rules is this: everything you own costs money twice. The first cost is obvious. It is the price tag, the number on the receipt, the monthly payment. The second cost is invisible, and it is often larger than the first. The second cost is storage, maintenance, mental energy, insurance, and the opportunity cost of what that money would have become if you had invested it instead of spent it. That treadmill in your spare bedroom is not free after you bought it. It occupies roughly 20 square feet of your home. In most American cities, residential space costs between $30 and $50 per square foot annually when you factor it into your rent or mortgage. That treadmill you bought to get in shape is costing you somewhere between $600 and $1,000 per year in implicit storage rent for equipment that is currently holding laundry. The boat in Brandon's garage costs him more every year in storage, insurance, registration, winterization, and maintenance than most people spend on a vacation. He pays to own the experience of boating whether or not he ever gets on the water. Once you understand that ownership has an ongoing price beyond the purchase price, every buying decision you make for the rest of your life changes permanently. Which brings us to rule number 1. Rule 1. Calculate the true cost of ownership before you buy anything significant. Before any purchase above $200, ask yourself 3 questions. How much will this cost me annually to store, maintain, and insure? How many times will I realistically use this in the next 12 months? And what would this money become in 15 years if I invested it instead of spent it? A $15,000 home gym setup sounds like a one-time investment in your health, but $15,000 invested at 8% annual returns over 15 years becomes $47,000. You are not just buying equipment. You are buying equipment instead of $47,000 in future wealth. That calculation does not mean never buy anything. It means buy things with full knowledge of what they actually cost. Most impulse purchases evaporate immediately when you run the real math. Rule 2. Apply the replacement test to everything you already own. Walk through your home this week and ask yourself one honest question about every single item you see. If this disappeared today, would I spend money to replace it? Not could I replace it, would I? Most people discover that the honest answer for a significant percentage of their possessions is no. They would not replace it. It exists in their life through inertia, a past phase, an abandoned hobby, a gift they felt obligated to keep, an impulse purchase from 3 years ago. Every item you own that fails the replacement test has a negative value. It costs you space, it costs you mental energy, it costs you the time you spend cleaning around it, organizing it, maintaining it, and occasionally feeling guilty about never using it. Philip's garage has a car and nothing else because he ran the replacement test and discovered that everything else in his original garage was something he would not purchase. He sold what had value, he donated what someone else could use, he discarded what served nobody. His garage is now a source of calm instead of a source of low-level financial shame. The psychological weight of owning things you do not want is measurable. Princeton neuroscientists have found that visual clutter increases cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone, and reduces the brain's ability to focus. Your excess possessions are literally elevating your stress levels in ways you cannot consciously detect. Removing them removes that stress. And a mind that is not quietly managing the burden of unwanted possessions has significantly more capacity for the decisions that actually build financial security.
Rule 3. Never upgrade out of boredom. This is the rule that separates people who build wealth from people who earn good incomes and have nothing to show for it. Brandon's television worked perfectly. He upgraded it because the new model had slightly better picture quality. His phone operates flawlessly. He upgrades it every 2 years because a newer version exists. His car runs reliably. He traded it in because he had grown tired of looking at it. Each individual upgrade felt like a reasonable decision. Together, they represent a pattern of wealth destruction disguised as progress. The minimalist rule is direct. You do not replace something that functions. A phone that makes calls, sends messages, and runs your applications does not need replacement because a newer phone exists. A car that reliably transports you does not need replacement because a neighbor bought something newer. The average American replaces their phone every 2 to 3 years, while the previous phone works perfectly. Over a 30-year period, that pattern costs between $30,000 and $50,000 in unnecessary purchases on phones alone. Apply that same upgrade culture across every category: cars, appliances, furniture, electronics, clothing, and the lifetime waste exceeds $200,000. Minimalists define functional clearly. An item remains functional until it genuinely cannot perform its purpose. Boredom is not failure. Novelty is not failure. The existence of a newer version is not failure. Marketing has convinced you that you have a problem that does not exist and then sold you the solution. Recognizing that pattern is worth more than any investment strategy. Rule 4. Create friction for spending and remove friction for saving. Human behavior follows the path of least resistance, without exception. If spending is effortless and saving requires effort, you will spend. If saving is automatic and spending requires deliberate action, you will save. This is not a moral statement, it is behavioral science. Philip set up an automatic transfer to his investment account the day his paycheck hits. He never sees that money, he never makes a decision about it. It moves before his brain can have an opinion about it. Brandon intends to invest whatever is left at the end of the month. There is never anything left at the end of the month. Spending friction looks like removing your stored credit card numbers from every online retailer, deleting shopping apps from your phone, requiring a 24-hour waiting period before any non-essential purchase, unsubscribing from every promotional email so that your inbox is not a daily catalog of things to want. Saving ease looks like automation. Your investment happens on payday before you ever see the money. Your emergency fund grows without a monthly decision. Your retirement account contribution is a fixed percentage that adjusts automatically when your salary adjusts. These structural changes matter more than willpower. Willpower depletes across the day. It is lowest exactly when you are tired, stressed, and most vulnerable to impulse decisions. Environment is constant. A person who deleted the shopping apps simply cannot make that impulse purchase in a moment of weakness. The architecture did the work that discipline could not reliably do. Rule 5. Define enough before your income makes excess possible. Here is the trap that catches every high earner who never builds wealth. They never decided what enough looks like, so every income increase immediately becomes a lifestyle increase. The new salary becomes normal within 90 days, the upgraded apartment becomes the baseline, the nicer car becomes unremarkable. And somehow there is still no margin, still no savings cushion, still no real financial security, just a more expensive version of the same financial anxiety at a higher income level. People earning $300,000 report the same financial stress as people earning $80,000 because their expectations and expenses expanded perfectly in step with their income. The goalpost moved every time they got close to it. Philip decided at 31 what enough looked like for his life. He decided that a modest apartment in a good neighborhood was enough, that a reliable used car was enough, that a well-stocked kitchen and occasional travel was enough. He wrote those definitions down. When his income grew from $43,000 to $53,000 over 5 years, his lifestyle did not change. Every dollar above his definition of enough went directly to savings and investments. He is now 39 years old with 14 months of liquid savings and a growing investment portfolio on a $53,000 income because he drew a finish line and refused to move it. The person who defines enough at $60,000 in annual spending and then earns $120,000 builds wealth at a rate that high earners chasing lifestyle upgrades will never match. The $40,000 annual gap between income and enough, compounded over 20 years, is the difference between financial anxiety and genuine freedom. Here is what nobody tells you about these rules. The relationship between minimalism and money is not one-directional. Owning less creates more money, but having more money also makes owning less feel natural. When your savings account is growing and your investments are compounding, the psychological need that drives most consumption begins to dissolve. The need for security gets met by actual financial strength rather than purchased signals of success. You stop needing the boat and the 72-inch television to feel like you are winning because your bank account is already telling you the story you want to hear. Brandon is not a bad person. He is a person who was never given a finish line. He accumulated a lifestyle that requires every dollar he earns to maintain it, and he did so gradually enough that he never noticed it happening. Philip did not achieve financial stability through sacrifice. He achieved it through clarity. Clarity about what things actually cost, clarity about what he actually values, clarity about where he wants to be in 20 years, and what daily behavior produces that outcome. The minimalist money rules are not about living with less. They are about understanding that most of what you have been sold as necessary was never necessary. And the moment you see that clearly, money stops being something that disappears every month and starts being something that builds something real. The choice between Brandon's Sunday nights and Philip's Sunday nights is not an income decision, it's a clarity decision. And that decision is available to you right now, regardless of what you currently earn.